Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on 1 second. I think you're still getting used to this. Hold on 1 second. There we go. All right.
You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Perfect.
Dope.
How are you?
I'm doing great, man. How are you, man?
I'm doing really good, dude. It's been so long.
Yeah, it has,
since we've seen each other.
It has been, man. It has been, for real. It has been. Where do you stay at now? Where do you live
I live
now?
in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Carolina. That's what's up. Yo, actually,
Yeah.
I used to live there. I lived there for like 1 month.
Really?
Yeah, it was damn, what was it? It was before I even came to New Jersey, honestly.
Okay. So you're younger. Word.
Yeah, I was really young, yeah.
Nice.
Dope.
So I see you got your whole media and everything going, you know.
It's coming along. I'm trying my best. As you can see behind me, I still got my art stuff and everything. So
I remember you used to always draw when we were in school together.
Yeah, I used to sit in the study hall and then like just
draw. Stay to yourself and you would draw, but you was cool. You was mad chill.
Right. Yo, that's dope, man. I remember back in the day, you used to do archery too. Do you still do that now?
Yes, I haven't done it in a little bit just because of COVID, and then like needing to get new equipment and like get it adjusted to me. Yeah. So I've been holding off a little bit, but I still do it. Yeah.
Nice, man. That's dope. Yo, okay, so all right. You dropped this poetry book, an ode to Helianthus. Am I pronouncing it right? I'm not sure if I'm.
So yeah, it's ode to Helianthus.
Helianthus. Okay.
Yes, sir. The Helianthus is the Greek word for sunflowers. Yes.
Nice.
So the book, it is a collection of poetry, like I said, obviously by me, but it takes you through a journey of kind of like ups and downs and a little bit of not just like finding myself, but also like trying to figure out what love is and thinking I have love, thinking like I know what it feels to be loved, realizing I never knew what that felt like, and then actually realizing that one, I've always had love within me, and the love for myself has always been there, but it's been lying dormant, and then kind of just coming to terms with like, you know what, me seeking love from other people when it's right here, it's home.
Right.
It's not outside of me,
right.
You know. So that's pretty much like the gist of the book, and then just kind of like growing as a person.
Of course.
Going from darker times mentally to definitely more light and positive times, and just becoming more whole as a person. And it's really just the baby steps.
Right. It's an amazing book. It's a really amazing book. It's full of a lot of love. And I think a lot of people should really like tap into this, especially nowadays. The recovering from last year, COVID-19, trauma of every month, literally something happened.
It's crazy. Something. Yeah.
And I think quarantine actually made it a lot better. I would ask you too, if it did make it a lot better for you to like, hone in on yourself, just being at home and, creativity and everything.
Yeah, it definitely did. I could say like, at first I didn't think it was going to be that good of a thing, but I ended up being able to like, really get more in tune with myself and also find a more well-rounded like poetry community rather than just me sitting at home writing pieces every once in a while because I might feel a certain way emotionally. But I found people who really like motivate me, and they like just not even like they're trying to, but just watching how they work and watching their penmanship and watching the accolades and watching the goals they've set for themselves and realizing like this is where I needed to be around a bunch of more people that have been wanting to reach goals, and I myself want to reach goals. And you know what they say, when you surround yourself with the people that are doing the things that you want to do, you'll get there.
Right.
So that's definitely what really kickstarted this whole process of writing this book, is because, this book has been together for a couple years.
Wow. So
it just was never.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's just never been like actually compiled into a straight list of this is how I want to order it, or these are the artworks that I want to put with it. And like, I've been sitting on a lot of these poems, except for maybe like 2 or 3 of them for years, and just never thought to put it out, and never thought to like, oh, I want people to hear me speak, or I want people to hear my poetry, or see my thoughts and see the things I go through. But more than anything, I realized people needed that.
Right.
Because that's the feedback I've been getting is thank you for putting this book out.
Of course, man. Yo, thank you for actually making this book, because you know, when you put out something that's like truly genuine that people can really take from it and like it makes them better, this book is going to make a lot of people feel better, especially if they're like in the same position as you, just down, not knowing how to deal with love, confused and frustrated. This helps a lot. Now, like you said that you had people around you that you look up to. Who are those people exactly? Like
so some of the people, actually the hoodie I'm wearing right now, it says poet on it. Respect. It's a poet. His name is Mike. I think it's Mike Phillips. He actually lives in Pennsylvania. And then there's another poet who is actually also a rapper. His name is Prince Allende, and he lives up in New York. And we talk all the time. And you know, he's one of the people that's like part of my brotherhood of poetry. There's him. There's this kid that goes by Quiet Kid. He's a poet as well. He lives in, I want to say, Ohio. And like, there's another one named Rich. His thing is Rich with No Limits, his handle, on Instagram. And he lives, I think, in Georgia. So it's like people all over.
It's like a poetry community and everything, right?
Yeah. It's a poetry community. And we're like all over. And then even here in Charlotte, there's a poet named Superman. I call him Unc. He calls me nephew. Right. He's definitely been the type of person that like helps motivate me as far as poetry goes. And he actually won Poet of the Year for Charlotte, the city of Charlotte. So he has that. You know, he's like that. And so he's one of those people that has motivated me, his penmanship, his work, just also giving me tips and pointers when I do spit poems for him. But that's just a small handful. And more than anything, my girlfriend, who is also from New York, she's actually the only one that even started like.
How'd you guys meet?
My voice out there.
Oh no, it was choppy. It was getting choppy. Yeah, it was getting choppy a little bit. Okay. How'd you guys meet though? How'd you and your girl meet?
Ironically, we actually just met through poetry, and like I was posted poems, like pictures, like just literally words on the screen, and she found my page, and so we started talking. And we started talking every day. And then eventually we got to the point where like, we got to meet, like officially, we have to meet. And then I found out, you know, I knew she lived in New York and I was living down here in Winston-Salem. And I was just like, I'm gonna have these days off and I'm gonna drive up there. And I drove up to New York and we met. And then it was just from that point on, it's been like a blossoming.
It was love at first sight.
Yeah. Honestly, like realistically, like we already knew we had this really good affinity for each other, and then we felt like it would work. But when we finally like met and got the extra touch and like hang out, it just solidified it. And ever since then, it's been nothing but growth and like evolution. Literally, like my name is Poetic Evolution, so that's what I go by when it comes to poetry. But it's been nonstop evolutions just in life since we've come together.
Right. Now, so there's a lot of spirituality in this book too as well. Are you you're in tune with that too? How'd you get into spirituality and everything like that? I see like, you know, it was on I know there's no page numbers on here, but it was on the Unsent Letter. There's like an image of like the chakras.
Yeah. So that's actually funny because like the book came into fruition with like my most recent ex, like before my current girlfriend. And that's why it was ode to Helianthus, because her favorite flower was sunflowers. And what's funny is that's the cover is actually a bouquet that I handpicked and made for her birthday.
Wow.
Yeah. And I put it on a table that I at like a place I got for us to celebrate her birthday. Right. So that's actually where that cover comes from. The ode to Helianthus is funny because my current girlfriend's favorite flower is the sunflower as well. And it was kind of like laying, because this looks like it's very dark, as if it's like a bouquet you give to somebody, maybe like a funeral or something like that. And it's kind of like laying that season of my life to rest.
Right.
And so prior to her, I had another, girlfriend back in the day where I was like extremely heavily religious. And I was very, very deep in the church. And when we split, I had a lot of questioning of like who I was outside of the relationship, who I was outside of just religious practice all the time. And it sent me on a journey of figuring out for real, who is Ashton? Who is Ashton beyond a relationship? Who is Ashton beyond the religion? Who is Ashton beyond everything you expect me to be? Who am I?
Right.
And with going on that journey, one, my hair grew. Like I let my hair grow.
I see that, man. I see the growth.
Yeah. So, that was one thing. It was just like I didn't feel like I needed to keep getting my hair cut because that was more something I was doing because it's the norm.
Right.
It's the norm to get haircuts, norm to get shape ups and always look a certain way. And I was like, who am I trying to impress? Especially because I love my natural hair. So like, who am I trying to impress?
Nah,
why not just be happy? Yeah. Right. And so I'm just like, that's one thing that came of it. And then two, it was just like energy is a very, very big thing. It's very, very strong. And learning like what each energy means and like how it flows through the body and how it's reactive with your life. And then I'm still a person who does believe and I have faith, in God and all the other stuff. I'm just not a heavily religious person. I feel like I need to practice these hardcore things. And it's just like, that's not even who God says you are. In the Bible, it doesn't even say to do that. That's looked down upon. So I'm just like, I'm going to follow how it says to follow in the Bible. I'm going to still be me. I know I'm not ever going to be perfect. And I'm also going to pay attention to this alignment and the energy that flows with me, because that comes from somewhere too. That comes from somewhere. And so with that, I just combined both and I found a lot more peace in who I am and a lot more peace walking through life. And that's where I've gotten that. And that's why that picture is in there.
That's beautiful, man. That's a beautiful way of explaining it too. I mean, as far as you letting go and then finding a new journey and everything like that. How was it hard? Like trying, yeah, because I know you're probably thinking like, how do I bring this? How do I make sure? Like I know you try, like it's conflicting. Like should I do it this way? Should I do it that way? Like
because I was raised in a church.
Yeah.
I was raised in the church, and I still love, going to church when I can, but I was raised, like my mom was on the choir. She was at all the Bible studies. I was there. So, I was there 6 days out of 7 a week. So,
on Thursday, Bible studies,
yeah, all the Bible studies, all the choir practices. Like, so, when it came to that, it was a very, very tough period initially. It was like the separating of expectations that were placed on me by myself and also by the people around me. Like just what your expectations for me are, and you don't even know who I am. I don't even know who I am right now. And so it was tough getting that separation. That separation was a very painful period. It was a lot of tears. It was a lot of emotions. It was a lot of breakdown. And that was actually the first time I started writing. And like where poetry came from for me, it was me writing out my emotions to try to figure out what they mean. Why do I feel this way?
Right.
What message is there here for me to see?
Right.
And that's where my poetry started.
What would be your favorite part in this book, as far as let's get into that, man. What would be
my
your
favorite part in this book? It's tough. It's my baby. I think for me, it's got to be. Let me see. It's not this one. It should be after this, where I have them laid out.
Because my favorite part is the unsent letter.
Really?
Yeah, I like that, man. I really love that, bro. I really love that.
Thank you. Oh, okay. Okay. It's the deepest gratitude poem near the end of the book. And it goes as such. Thank you. Thank you so much for the lessons that your random streams of consciousness, coupled with your energy, have taught me. I've always been a student of life, but man, did you give me a master class in self-respect, expectations, and elevation. I thank you. You made me realize that I might actually be a dope soul that wasn't properly appreciated by anyone I engaged with, not even you. I thank you. Thank you for showing me that I don't always need to get clarity to be happy, but cementing the feelings and knowledge of self that I enjoy clarity and deeply respect transparency. These are the parts of me that do not die, and I refuse to let them. I thank you. But really, I need to thank you for everything that has happened since our souls parted ways at the crossroads. Thank you for finally being forthcoming with the answers to so many questions I had long since released from my psyche. Your honesty added to the peace that I have found on my own. I revel in this newfound space. I love it here. Thank you.
Deep, man. Wonderful. Yo, so can you go into that part? Who exactly were you talking to, and exactly what was the comp? Yeah. Go deep into
that one was my most recent ex.
Okay, right.
You know, the last few years. And it was just, there was a lot of confusion and questions when it came to that situation. And like, you know, it was a lot of feeling like I'm committed to this and you're not. I'm proud of this and you're not. I think you're dope and I don't know if you think I'm dope too. Like my soul lights up when you're here, but I don't feel nothing when you look at me. Do you feel that same way? Are you proud to call me yours? Why do you not show me off too? I show you off. You know, I walk in the room proud that that's my partner. You don't feel that way, do you? And then like, but never being able to get an answer to those questions.
What's your sign?
And my sign,
yeah,
Sagittarius.
Bro, no way, Sagittarius too.
Nice. Yeah. Yes, sir.
That's dope. Sir. What day in December?
9th.
December 3rd. December 3rd.
Ooh, okay.
I think that's what actually like brought us together in study hall too. When we were in school too, we reflected on that. My birthday was. Yeah, I remember that. It's yeah. Yo, that's dope. Okay, so going back. Let me see. It's okay. Well, we're good. It was losing connection. So going back to the relationship again. So
yeah,
I know that since that part was it hard writing that part? Did it bring out a lot of like, you know, emotions that
emotions?
Yeah, I know. Like
writing that piece, actually, I'd been in a place of healing and like I'm good for so long at that point that it was just like, thanks.
Like, yeah,
I'm happy. Thank you for what you did. And I was upset and I was tight when you were doing it. But thank you for doing it, because if you had not released me in the way that you did, I wouldn't be where I am right now. This book would have never came out.
Right.
It would have never came out. I would have never reached as many people as I reached with my words, because I was wasting them on you.
Exactly. You know, the funny thing is for artists, every single time an artist goes into like the depths of like the saddest point of themselves, they always ascend to be like something great. Something great always comes out when you're sad and down.
Yeah.
So it was like all that built up and all the emotions and everything just made it just come out into greatness. It's amazing.
Exactly. And I thank you. I appreciate those compliments, because you know that's the type of feedback I've been getting from people, like not just thanking me for writing it, but like telling me what their favorite pieces are and why it's their favorite piece and how it hits them and how they relate and how they're just like, man, and to see you now, I can't wait to get to that place, because I'm here in this book. Yeah. I'm at this phase of the book and I'm hoping, I can't wait to get to the end to see where you were at the end of that and how it's different from how you are now, because where you are now, you are soaring.
How do you fight negativity? Because I know bringing something out and letting people know and showing the world like, hey, I got this thing that I want to talk about. It encompasses everything that I've went through, all the love and the trauma that I went through. How do you fight negativity as far as like people saying, oh, it might not be successful, it might not work or anything like that? How did you fight that? How did you?
You know, ironically enough, like when it comes to like this this piece of art here and me putting it out, by the time I put it out, I didn't fought so much negativity in my own mind that no matter what anybody else could say, I already beat this. This created this.
Right.
This is the biggest critic of what that could ever possibly be. This went through years of negative thoughts of I'm never putting anything out. And I beat that.
Right.
So any little negative comment you could say, like anybody could say, I
just didn't phase you.
That's cool. It's not for you then.
Yeah.
Wonderful. But there's plenty of people that it is for.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like that's a place that a lot of artists get. I had this job and I was a security supervisor. And this guy I oversaw was an artist. He was one of my subordinates technically, but he was an older Black man. And he was an artist as well. He did photography. And like, I just knew him as a security guard. I had no clue that outside of this office, he's huge. Like he's got displays in colleges all over the state. He's got art displays that he sets up and sells his art for hundreds and thousands of dollars. I had no clue. He just does this because it's a steady check.
Wow. So the art, right.
Yeah, I had no clue. I was like, really? He's like, yeah. You know, he went to his web and he's just like this. He's just like, oh yeah, I have a website. Like, is this? And then I go look at it and I'm like, you just said that like it was nothing. Like it was super tiny. Yeah. And like, what?
That probably blew your mind as far as like just thinking about all the stuff that you want to bring out. Like,
yeah,
it's practical. It's
I was like, what? And he told me something, and I will never forget it. He was just like, when it comes to being an artist, we are so protective. We're so protective when we cling and we hold on to our art. It is our baby. It's our heart work. It's from our mind, and like we are so protective over it. He was like, when you're an artist, if you really want to know if you're good, you have to put your art into the arena of public opinion. If you think you're dope, that's awesome. He is like, but when you put your art into the arena of public opinion to let it be judged by people that are not you, you see. And the feedback I've gotten from that, like, you know, I've done lives where I've been on camera on lives doing spit. I've now spit for the first time in person in front of people, like a room of people.
Right.
And that was just dope. The reception I got was crazy. It was electrifying. And then also with the book being out for now, like 2.5 months, I think, it was just the feedback I've gotten from that, from everyone, from coworkers to friends that were like close friends, from distant friends to family members to people just in the poetry community that I don't even really know like that pick up my book and they're like, yo, I bought your book. And dude, it's mad dope. They reached out to me for the first time. They just heard me spit on a live and they were like, oh, you have a book? I'm getting that. And then they get the book and they reach out too. And I'm just like, the love I've gotten from this piece of work has been, it's a very insurmountable mountain of just energy that I've received. And it's like, yo, this is my first piece that I put out there for real.
Right.
And y'all messing with it like that.
Right.
That's good to know.
What's that? That's dope. To go along with that, I also seen that you've been posting on you post on Facebook that your competitions and the battles that you've been having. That's dope.
Yeah, I figured I wanted to get like that group too more involved because I pretty much kept my poetry mainly on Instagram. And because of that, you know, it's like I have a really good Instagram following at this point for as long as I've been doing this now. But, you know, I have a whole set of friends and family on Facebook who don't really engage with Instagram like that. So y'all wouldn't really know. And so, you know, not like you where you're like all over social media.
Yeah, right? As much as I can be.
Right. And so like, you know, I have a bunch of family and friends that don't really be getting on like that on other things. And so I'm like, I'm gonna let y'all know because I know how y'all support me. You get behind me for things. And like you see my videos I'll post every once in a while, me actually spitting something. And it's like, yo, okay. And they're like, yo, well, let me know when your next thing is. Let me know when your next thing is. And so I've started doing that. And like, you know, even if it's like on a platform like Clubhouse, which is very like restrictive because it doesn't let certain people on. So even if they don't have an Apple, but it's like, let me let you know that I'm going into this bout. This is the outcome of that bout. You know, I won. Okay. My first ever slam, I ended up making it to like the final 8. And it was my first ever slam. And it was set up like March Madness, literally brackets. And so I went in and I ended up making it to the final 8, and I was very proud because I really only had 2 more rounds. If I had 2 more rounds, just 2 more victories, I would have had the championship. And that's something to think about. Like, okay, so next time if I choose to engage in this thing, two victories.
Right.
That's 2 steps. That's the only thing that's between me and that money that I could have got.
Beautiful, man. Yo, so